I'm just gonna record. Wow, that's the sound we missed.
Man.
Anyways, so
Can you make a recap
I'll do a
of
quick
what
recap.
of the advice you gave me?
I'm gonna do a quick recap for those that didn't come onto the webinar. But basically, we started the webinar right
Welcome.
maybe like 40 minutes ago. Broke down GG and everything. So I'm gonna try and recap it. I apologize. Anyways, so GJ on the daily time frame, right? We're still kind of trading along this weekly time frame zone. So essentially what I'm kind of looking at here is price did close under, and this could be a potential retest of this area. I would like to see if this area actually holds as resistance and continues to go down. Now, obviously, if GJ continues to go down and this area holds as resistance, the next area I would be paying attention to is going to be this 165, 300 zone. The way I would look to take a position based off of this area would be a break of the lows. I would like to see price break these lows, potentially pull back, retest this area, maybe even retest the highs again, but I definitely want to see a break of the lows to establish that price is attempting to make new lower lows, and we could potentially see a continued push lower back down into this 165, 500 range. Now, with gold, realistically, with gold on the daily time frame, because of the move that we saw earlier today, which was absolutely insane, it's kind of in the middle of no man's land. It's kind of what I like to call it, in the middle of a highway where kind of momentum just came to a halt by the time market actually ended up closing, and we had the new daily time frame actually form. So I would like to see a pretty steep pullback into this area to be really comfortable in taking buys, although you could potentially look to take buys anywhere in between this range right here, this 1704 to 1709 range. You could look for a pullback to there to take buys. It's just not something I would be super comfortable with doing. And then ultimately, if you're looking to buy gold, I would definitely look to target this 1725 to 1730 area, where, I mean, if you guys know, if price breaks that point, wait for the price to pull back, retest, establish that this previous resistance holds as support, and then you could look for price to continue to the upside from there. When it comes to US 30, the only thing that I'm a little bit concerned about on US 30 buys, if we're looking to continue to buy US 30, is that we pulled back into this major area on the weekly time frame, on the daily time frame as well, where we saw pretty much a lot of consolidation and then massive drops coming from this area. So the question kind of arises in my current trading plan is, can we see another drop like that from this area? Will we see another drop like that from this area, or will we see a break? Now, obviously, price has kind of already rejected this area, but it's not like a huge rejection where I'd be like, okay, we're automatically looking to sell. At this point in time, it's more of a waiting game. If price breaks above it, obviously, you guys already know the next thing to do is wait for a retest, establish that it holds as support so we don't get faked out, and then look to take price up into the next highs being over here. But realistically, looking for more of an intraday type of setup, what I would be looking forward to coming into the next trading day is that we have resistance up in this range here, and we have support down in this range over here. If price is trading at the lows by the time the trading day opens up and this support level continues to actually hold, then I'll look to buy it back up into this 33,400 range. Vice versa, if price is trading around the highs by the time the market actually opens up and this resistance continues to actually hold, then I'll look to sell it back down into this 33,000 range over here. And then with the NASDAQ, basically what I covered was essentially, right, what I would wait for is we have this support zone that price actually ended up breaking above, coming back down, rejecting, making new highs. And we have this intraday market structure forming as higher highs and higher lows. I wouldn't be interested in selling the NASDAQ unless we get a break under the lows here, pretty much roughly around a break under 11,000. And then, if by the time the market opens up and it breaks above these highs, let's call it, then I would wait for a break and retest to then look to buy it up into the next highs being somewhere along this range here. You could look to buy it again down here. I think it would be a little bit more riskier to buy it down here, just simply because if price comes all the way back down there with the weakness that we see on the previous daily time frame, this could be a bearish engulfing that's forming, which could potentially even push price even lower. That's kind of what I would be a little bit cautious about selling or buying the NASDAQ at this point over here. Just kind of give you guys a quick breakdown of the recap of basically what we talked about. Now, does anybody have any other questions before I end the webinar? Anything they would like me to cover?
Can you go over GU real quick?
Yo, Rahul, I got a quick question.
Yeah.
What's the lowest time frame you wait for your candle close to retest confirmation?
I mean, I'll wait for them on all time frames if I have to. It ultimately depends on what time frame I'm looking at here. Like with GU, we can obviously see that there's been a clean break above right here, right? Then we have a pullback and a retest right here on this 4 hour time frame, and then we saw price move away very quickly from it. So ultimately, it just depends on the level that you're trading. But I mean, you could look for a break and retest on a 30-minute time frame, hour time frame, 4 hour time frame. It's up to you at the end of the day, you know. My personal favorite time frame to look for these retests, breaks, et cetera, et cetera. If it's an intraday level, probably like the 15-minute, 5 minute time frame. It's a 4 hour daily zone, then most likely like the hour, 30-minute time frame minimum.
Raul, when you draw your red box, what time frame is that? The daily?
Yeah, it's just to give you guys kind of like a generalization of the zone, but my bigger zones is typically with the daily. And I mean for GU,
the orange line?
That's 4 hour. For GU, I would expect GU to keep pushing up into this area that we have over here, this 1.16250 zone here. Then I would kind of wait and see what it does if GU gets to this point. This would definitely be an area where you could look to sell, but just based off of like an intraday perspective, you could look to buy from this point to this point if this area continues to hold.
Raul, what time would you stop trading US 30 and NAS?
Probably like 4 p.m. is when I would stop looking to take positions.
And if you don't mind, could you like break down an indices trade that you've taken before, like going through like a 5 minute time frame or something like that,
Well, I mean, I could break down the trade that I took today, where basically prices came back up into this 4 hour zone here, right? You go down into an hour time frame. We have price kind of attempting to retest here and then attempting to retest here. Ultimately, this was the decision that made me want to get into the market, where I saw price essentially struggle to actually break. 5 minute time frame right before the market opened up, what I saw was price attempt to break here, completely failed with price closing back under here, making new lows down here, pull back, and then I decided to pretty much look to get in. I believe it was somewhere along this candlestick that I actually ended up getting in on that, or along this fluctuation of this wick here. Price came all the way back up with my stop loss above this 5 minute high. Then my essential targets were all the way down here, but I ended up getting out a little bit early. So just looking to take a short off of this hour zone back down into the previous lows, being these lows over here, was why I looked to take that position. Ultimately, I mean, I didn't really follow my plan to the T, but I still made money off of essentially the same move that I was looking for.
How would you know, like, if it's gonna be a short-term trade,
I don't know if it's going to be a short-term trade or a long-term trade. Essentially, the only way I would make that decision if price starts breaking above my levels or breaking under my levels. I just decided to take a position. I just decided to close my position early, just simply because I didn't want to avoid getting ripped out. Because when this candlestick actually opened up, it came down, made new lows, pumped all the way back up, and then continued to go down. That's why I was like, you know what, I'm out. I don't want to get stuck in some form of like a wick lash, if that's how you kind of want to call it, or liquidity grab. So I said, I'll get out and I'm just gonna get back in.
Yeah, and there was like a NAS trade if you go.
Wait, before you go to NAS, wasn't this also a counter trend trade, or would you not say so? Because the daily seemed very bullish. So were you mindful of that, or?
Yeah, I was mindful of it. I was just still a little bit more on that we could possibly see sells because of this area here and the type of rejection that we had here over the last few trading days before that.
Okay.
Can you go to NAS? There was like buys that I was seeing. That one there, yeah, there.
What about
it? But go down to like a 5 minute. Yeah, that there. Do you see it?
Right here?
No. Go back.
Here. Or here?
This one, yeah.
Yeah, so I was actually looking to take buys along this area here when this was actually happening. I just didn't end up taking those buy positions, but it would have been definitely a great buy position to actually take because we had a price break back above support pretty cleanly, made new highs. We can easily see over here on this hour time frame that price had made new highs, right? We go down to a 5-minute time frame, and essentially what we have is all of this exhaustion here, all of this rejection to the downside. It was literally screaming buys in my face, but I don't remember exactly why I didn't take it. I'd have to go over my notebook.
But what if you took it from that first fight? Do you see that first bearish candle, but a rejection one? Yeah, there. Like, you would get stopped out, wouldn't you?
If I would have taken it from there, yeah, 100%.
And then if you go for the second one, you get stopped out again.
Depending on how tight my stop loss is, if I would have decided to take a position there again, then yeah, you would have been stopped out 100% for sure. But
Then would you take a third one?
I can't really answer with accuracy where I would have taken a position here because obviously I already see what happened. I don't know if I would have taken a position here. What I do remember why I didn't take a position was because I wasn't too comfortable on the amount of momentum that I was seeing to the downside. But definitely after I saw this, it was okay. We can definitely see buys from this area here.
Yeah, and you give like two shots, right? After like two losses, you're done.
If I would have taken a position here and then put my stops down here and gotten stopped out, I would have definitely taken another position, a break above these highs right here, with my stop loss probably like around this area here, depending on where my targets would have been, and then if that trade would have been worth me taking. Because for sure, if I'm looking at it from a point where it looks like this, it's like, okay, we can easily see buys from this point to this point. I don't know what could happen beyond that. So my essential target would be from here to here.
All right, perfect. And when's the indices thing coming out for the DTI?
I'm gonna try and have it out by Thanksgiving.
Yo, Raul.
Thanks, bro.
Yo, Raul.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on scaling out of a position? Like for me personally, I'm only going for 2-to-1s right now because I'm not really comfortable holding. I'm still trying to get used to that. But I was having a talk with my dad, and we were talking about like trying to scale out of positions. Like maybe when it hits a 2-to-1, take 75% of that profit and
if it works for you, it works for you. You know.
All right, bet.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well,
I'm sure you guys have heard of the saying you can never both taking a profit.
How many confirmations do you need in order to know if a level will hold as support?
I would like to see 3. But I mean, it's not that difficult to see if a level will actually hold. Price has to tell you it's holding.
So you mean like a few rejection candles? Or
it's typically pretty good. I mean, the more rejections you see, the better, obviously. But typically, like once I see like 2 rejections is when I'm very confident on taking the position. And it also depends on the types of rejections too. So I can see like a rejection on the hour. Then I could go down. I can see multiple retests and rejections on like a 5-minute. I'll be pretty confident on taking the position. But more importantly, like price is to tell you we rejected before you make that assumption that price is going to reject.
Okay, thank you.
So on that. Oh, you can talk. My bad.
Thanks. On GJ today,
oh my bad.
on GJ today, I'll give you an example of something I took and I got stopped out. So what I was seeing that yesterday or the day before on the daily time frame gave us like a bullish variation pattern. Right there, and then we closed above resistance. I was looking for it to come back down and hold as support. So I went to like a 4-hour time frame, and I was seeing support at, let's say, I think my area was 167,600. I think, where all those wicks are to the left slightly. Yeah, all those wicks there, 167,600. That's where I had my area. And then price, it pumped up and then it came down, and I saw just 2 candlesticks. Wait, on the 4-hour, if you go to the 4-hour, I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candlesticks from the current one. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that one there. I'd seen that as no, that's not where my support is. 167,600, but I saw that as a rejection of my support, and then I went down to like a 30-minute and saw a bullish engulfing. Not a bullish engulfing, sorry, a morning star. Not that one, the next one. It's like the morning star below at the 160. Yeah, that one there. And then I'd got in with my stops below the lows and I targeted 16900. But in a trade like this, I can't tell if there was something I missed, why it went wrong. If it was just one, I have to say like that's just a loss that was worth taking, or if it was due to news.
If you were looking at this candlestick, then it could have been this entry signal right here because that happened the candlestick after. If that's right, if you took your entries here.
But this one, that's what I saw as a rejection. So I waited for the 30-minute morning star, if you see what I mean.
I mean, if your zone is all the way down here, it's still got some way to go. I mean, you could see it as a rejection. I would see why you would see it as a rejection. Then you have this. But this isn't like something I would classify as like, oh, we have like a super great, strong rejection. What time is this?
This is...
It's in the morning.
So London session. I think it's like 11:30 or 12 o'clock my time. But it's
so that's right when volume dies off before we have volume for New York. Then volume came in for New York, and then that's when you saw the pump up.
Okay.
So I would just say it was more like a timing type of thing. Because that's why I took the trade. I mean, to be honest, like the price action signals weren't the best, right? But I can't blame you for it. There's sometimes where I may take a signal where it may not be the best signal. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But definitely, like you took a trade like kind of around that lunchtime for you guys, where this is like pre-market in New York. Like this is really, really early. It's just 6 a.m. Like market opens up at 8.
Okay, so that 4 hour you wouldn't consider as a rejection of support?
Not really. I would just kind of consider this to be a normal bearish kind of like, because like what I like to see like a real rejection would maybe be like, it's a little bit more difficult to kind of say, but a candlestick that has a clear rejection to the downside. If something isn't so clear to you, then it's probably not there, and you're kind of trying to pan it out to be there when it's not. And that's a sign that you should wait more.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Bro, I took that same trade last night, and I guess my line was a little bit up further, so that first one looked like a rejection. I guess I drew that line from the daily, and it completely, if you look at the daily to the left, the far left, right there, I put my line above, on top of the close of that area, and it looked like it rejected the area. So I went down and I saw the 30-minute pin bar, and that's where I took my entry. And it just completely went down. So how else could I play that out?
Let me see.
15 minutes. The 5 15 minutes, it tells you a lot of if it was going to be a rejection or not. It was going to be a turn on.
What will, sir?
Like the 15 and 5 minutes, it tells you a lot if the price is going to reverse off of that. Because it only went to the support, a little support there. Like once you get a little like a wick, and then just it respected completely.
If
you'll see like
I can see why you guys took buys from this area, but I mean we had the market open up. The market actually started off being very bearish.
Go to the 5 minutes, and that you see like when it started going up. It would only reach that little like wick on the left, right there, like that area, like this whole area. If you marked it up, the little wick, no, the one on top, no, up, to the left, up, that area. For me, I put like a little rectangle, whatever, and I was like, if it goes up, if it breaks that, then it was gonna go up. It was gonna turn it as a reversal, and what it did, it respected completely, and it started going down again.
Hey, Raul, aren't we on a major downtrend on the daily? And we went to a 61 fifths on there?
I wouldn't even say this is like a very strong trend. This is just kind of sideways movement. In this condition. I mean, you could.
I thought it broke structure.
On the daily, Raul, do you count the break of structure via the wicks or the body? Because if someone's doing it by the body, then they'll now see this as a downtrend. But someone that's doing this by the wicks will see that the uptrend is maybe still intact.
It's the low, so the wicks, that's the lowest point price met.
Oh yeah, Raul, back to my question real quick. You were talking about like how you know a level is gonna hold that support and resistance, right? What I usually do is like do you usually look at different time frames for that rejection? For example, like what I do is like once I get that daily rejection, go to the 4 hour, look for that sell signal, and go to the 1 hour to see if I can get like another sell signal before I hop in. Is that what you're talking about? Like, are you just talking about like one time frame in particular?
I would use all your time frames to your advantage. You know, they're all part of the tools that you have in your toolbox. Why not use them to your advantage? You know?
Okay. Yeah.
Yo, bro, I got a question. So I think it was in your indices class, like where you say if it's a daily level, the daily candle has to close above it for you to like look to long off of it. Would that be like kind of the same with the 4 hour levels in a
Yeah.
sense?
Grab the concepts and use them on the different time frames, you know?
Thanks, bro.
Oh, one last thing. Can you give a recap of the advice you gave me? Or I can go back into it.
Shit, basically from the conversation that we had is essentially like when you're doing that, you just want to lower your position size to the point where the risk that you're taking is insignificant to play with your emotions. You know? That's what
Yeah.
And then on top of that, only give yourself literally 1 or 2 chances a day to press that buy or sell button. So once you
Yeah.
I press buy and I close, I'm fucked. I only have one more opportunity today. And if I blow it,
Yeah.
oh, well, I gotta come back the next trading day.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, quick question.
Yeah.
Can you like, I know you probably already do this all day, but can you do like a fresh markup and then like maybe like how you mark up your like supply and demand zones for me? Just so I really don't get where to play. I get the concept of it, but sometimes it don't be like valid all the way. So I'm just trying to see how to properly mark them up. I know it's going to be different to different people's eyes, but just trying to get a sense.
Well, essentially, the best advice I can give you there is you want to look for a certain reaction out of the market for you to have like the more accurate, important levels. Like example, with US 30, you go to the daily time frame, and if I were to just completely erase this, immediately what I would look for are where do I see the biggest reactions out of the market. First thing I would do is mark off this area right here, just simply because we had a huge consolidation and then a big move down. Then we had a break, a retest here, and then a huge move down as well. Next area I would possibly mark up could be, call it around right about here. Just simply because right when price came to this area, huge move away. Came back down again, tested again, huge move away. Same thing over here. We had a huge reaction, a big move away. It's not like something that's too complicated, but at the same time, like it's just like a core principle that you need to understand when it comes down to that, right? And then you can have another one over here. It's not too difficult either here. So here we had a retest, rejection, move away. We had a lot of consolidation here, move away. And then you can even mark it off.
Wait, can I stop you just real quick?
I'm here as well. Yeah, sure.
Just on what you said, so you look at basically anything a touch point and then the biggest move away, or do you look at the most touch points full stop, as in like, because that's what I do. But if it's, or is it more like useful to look at a point that's been touched and then the biggest sort of move off of it, if that makes sense?
We got to remember, like, this is an overall zone. So, like, the reason I just kind of set it here is just to set it so I have an understanding of where I could look at. And then once I'm done actually kind of like placing my major zones is when I'll go in and I'll make minor adjustments. Like, I could probably move this up to here, maybe even move it back down over here, or I can move it like right here to make another adjustment. You know, you just got to do ultimately what makes the most sense for you.
Cool.
And then next you would hop in what, the 4 hour or the 1 hour?
4 hour. And then I would essentially just do the same thing, just on a smaller scale. I would mainly pay attention to kind of like more relevant price action here. So, I mean, I could possibly put something here if I wanted to. I wanted to kind of like clutter up my screen a little bit more, but at the same time, I only need it to ever make sense. So in a situation like this where we have resistance here, I'm obviously not going to touch that there, right? I'm going to just simply go here, horizontal ray. We have some form of indecision along this area here. We also have some more indecision along this area right here as well. So those are pretty much gonna be like my main zone that I'll be looking for on the 4 hour to continue to go and test. So I know if price rejects this area, we can come back down into this area. If price breaks into this area, we can come back down to this area, so on and so forth.
Okay, so I'm trying to keep my charts as like clean as possible because I'm like get to doing a whole bunch of boxes and lines, it gets sloppy. So boom, we already did the daily, got the 4-hour minors. So then when you're looking to actually get in, you'll break it down to the 1 hour or 30.
Yeah,
And would that be some more lines or just be a visual thing?
nah, it'll just be like a visual thing unless like I spot something that I could be like, okay, well, we have this over here. You know?
Okay, now what would make you start like boxing out your zones?
When I can identify different things, like, okay, here we go. We have a break of this area here, and then we have a pullback to this area right here. That was what would make me box that off. Right? Then go back to the hour time frame, possibly even make some adjustments, et cetera, et cetera. Or if I'm on the hour time frame and I see, hey, price just kind of broke above these highs right here, let's kind of just mark that off. I'll make sure that's a different color so I know, hey, that's the hour time frame. Normally it's in black.
Okay, last question, so I can move on. So like when you mark in your daily and your 4 hours, let's say you don't see nothing really relevant or it's too like a little confusing for the eye. Is it okay to go back to previous like history in the past, or do you like count on that shit that much?
Yeah, 100%. Like on the daily time frame, if price were to break above here, then I know most likely we're probably going to come back up into this area here. And I can only make that judgment off of previous data.
Okay, yeah, I just don't be knowing how far to look. Sometimes I be feeling like 2013, 14 should be irrelevant, but I guess if it did it before, it could do it again.
Potentially.
Okay, got you. Appreciate it.
Hey, on the
You know,
Dow, do you sense an average on your stop loss? I know it depends on the chart, but any guess on that?
I wouldn't even be able to like guess it in points.
I mean, just add 1 point equals 100 pips. So
Yeah, but it also depends on the broker you're trading, what type of contracts they offer.
oh yeah, if you're doing funded, it's like it's easier to use it by points. Points is like the whole number, so like anything after the decimal point don't count. So
Well,
that's
okay,
easy.
and then how many points would you say on an average stop loss? I'm knowing that it depends on the chart.
For me, call it anywhere between 30 to 50.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bro, would you? Oh, go ahead, man.
Raul, sorry. I know, like you said, everything depends on the broker and everything, but is there some kind of calculator online that
actually
you can work with?
Yeah, I posted it a few times before on the Discord. Let me try and find it and I'll retire.
For indices, sorry.
Yeah, it's a position size.
What point equals 10 pips?
Bro, what you do is just use, if you confused, just take this 0.01 and see what it does from there. I mean, that way you can't lose.
Yeah, if you go on a new broker, you just gotta set up a demo and then just test it, man. They're all different.
All right, appreciate it, guys.
There, I put in the announcement, the position size calculator.
Yo, Raul, would you have taken that double top on US 30 today when it got around 33, 350?
Possibly. I can't answer for sure.
Okay.
But
we can't see it.
Probably not. Honestly.
Raul, do you know for US 30 and NAS, when you're drawing the levels out, would you not consider as keeping whole numbers?
Yeah, 100% you could.
So they work, like, for example, 33, 33,000, 32,000, you know, those stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
All right.
Hey, bro.
quick.
Well, I was just asking, bro. You say you took a goal loss for 20,000. Was it on the one last night or the one that happened recently?
Yeah, that was last week.
Oh, last week. Okay.
Yeah, that wasn't this week. That was last week on Thursday.
Okay.
Yo, Raul, quick question.
I'm trying to. That was US 30. Gold was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Raul, when US 30, I mean, just in general, like what I find myself doing sometimes is like, do you like create like a minor support on like a 5 minute or 15 minute?
to kind of like help you out getting in moves, in and out of moves?
I mean, yeah, but I try and mainly trade off like my intraday levels or my major levels.
And you use mainly the 1 hour and 4 hour, or
Intraday is like the hour, and major is kind of like 4 hour daily.
okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, that's what I've been using too. Thank you.
All right.